Killian Hayes will apparently have the eyes of the front office and the coaching staff throughout this summer league. What do they need to see? What do we need to see from Killian Hayes to feel more confident about him heading into the season? We'll talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. And if you have not already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the podcast on our road to 5,000 subscribers by the beginning of October. Let's see if we can hit it again over at the YouTube channel of Locked On Pistons. So we are happily joined by Bryce Simon today. He is down in Vegas right now, or maybe not down, or over in Las Vegas right now for the Summer League. Bryce, I hope you're going to enjoy it. You tell me you just flew in a few hours ago. You feeling good?
Yeah, man. Here's the only thing about all this, Koo. I was thinking about this today. Being a Pistons content creator, you got me coming to Detroit in the middle of winter when it was frigid and cold. Remember when we were talking about, I told you that cold hits different. And then now you got me coming to Vegas for Summer League and it's 110 every day. So like I got all the extremes of the weather trying to cover this team, but I love it. I enjoy it. And I always enjoy recording with you. So excited to talk some Pistons Summer League.
Absolutely. So I want to thank Bryce for making time to come on the podcast, even being down in Vegas. I know that you got credentialed for Vegas. That's going to be a lot of fun. You got to tell us all how it goes over there. But let's go ahead and get into it. I don't want to keep Bryce too long. We're going to get into the content real quick. So James Edwards of The Athletic came out with an article. I believe it was just a mailbag. And within the mailbag, he was asked about Killian Hayes and his leash, etc. And he had a quote in here, some quotes in here that caught some Pistons fans' eyes. I know the Athletic NBA account on Twitter tweeted out this specific quote. So I just want to read his answer on here, and then we'll talk about it. So he gets asked, what does Killian have to do this year, and how long do you think his leash is? And he goes on to say that he thinks that Killian Hayes is going to play a decent amount of games. But what really pops off in his answer is this quote right here. He says, my assumption is that he'll be watched closest by the Pistons front office and coaching staff. The 20-year-old has to dominate or come close to it in order for Detroit to feel more at ease with him going forward. It's been a bumpy 2 seasons for Hayes because of numerous injuries, a struggling jump shot, and difficulties finishing around the rim. The organization surely wants to see him run the offense without hiccups, have the, quote, I'm too good for this, end quote, aggressiveness, and show improvements with his jumper. So I think the most, important part of this is he's going to be the one that's watched closest by the front office and the coaching staff. So I actually talked about this last week a little bit. Actually, I believe it might have been even earlier this week about Killian Hayes. But Bryce, I'm going to let you go first since I already talked about it a little bit. What do you take away from that quote? What do you think they're looking to see from him? What are you looking forward to seeing from him? What do you think they need to see from him to feel better about him moving forward? And what do you think Killian wants to show out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting, right? Before we started recording, we were talking about Chet and Keegan Murray and, Summer League going on and how those guys play by different rules, right? When you're an incoming rookie, if you play well, then it means something. If you don't play well, it's just Summer League. And that's what it'll be for Jay Nivey, Jalen Duren, Gabriel Procida for this Pistons roster. Killian Hayes is going into his third year, Koo. He started games in the NBA. We've seen him dominate essentially a G League game last year against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so when I hear that quote, what it makes me think is they want to see him do that on Thursday night. And I believe on Saturday night is the Pistons' second game. And if he does that, then they'll have seen enough and they'll shut him down. So I think if you see Killian Hayes shut down after Thursday and Saturday's games, that means he showed the front office what they wanted to see in Coach Casey. And I think Killian can. He dominated that game in the regular season. If I don't remember the date, I don't remember, what the exact stat line does, but I think all the fans will remember that game against Oklahoma City late in the season where he was the best player on the floor. That's what he should be at Summer League.
Yeah, I think obviously, I kind of said this on the last podcast. You want to see him make shots. I don't want to minimize the importance of making shots. I had to correct myself a little bit on the last podcast. I made it sound like that I didn't care if he made shots. I do care if he makes shots. He needs to make shots. But I think more than anything, and again, I'm not minimizing making shots, but more than anything, They want to see him have that aggressive attitude that James mentioned in his article, the I'm too good for this. Like, I don't want to say he should almost feel disrespected, but he should take on that kind of attitude of, why am I here? I'm
Absolutely.
a third-year player. I'm the 7th overall pick 3 years ago. Why am I playing this summer league? I'm too good for this. This is beneath me. Like, he should come out and attack and look to score and look to dominate and physically punish whoever's in front of him. Now, again, whether he's making or missing shots, I don't think that should change anything. I think he should continue to go out there, be aggressive. And I really do think that if they see him be aggressive and try things, scoring the ball wise, and see whether he makes or misses doesn't affect that confidence on the next play and the next play and the next play, I think they'll feel okay about it. Obviously, I think if he makes shots and he shoots at a high level, then they'll probably feel great about him. And like you say, I think he'll probably get shot down after like 2 games. But I really do think more than anything, more than just making shots, they want to see that aggressiveness from the opening tip, that I'm the best player on this floor. I shouldn't be out here. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to look to score every possession because I'm that good. I think that's what they're really wanting to see from him immediately in the summer league.
Yeah, and so I'm looking up the stats for what Malachi Flynn did for the Raptors this past season, and I'll connect it here. So he only played 44 games this past season for the Raptors. And I bring that up because last year I was here at Summer League, and he looked like he was too good to be on the floor. Like he dominated Summer League. And so I bring that up to, to people listening, like it's not like the standard isn't that high for Killian to be the best player on the floor on Thursday night. I don't know who's all on the Blazers Summer League roster. I assume Shaedon Sharpe's going to be, the highlight name. So I don't think it's unfair to ask Killian to be the best player on the floor, is what I'm trying to get to. And here's the thing, Coop, what does it mean, or what does it say if Jaden Ivey is the star of the show tomorrow night? That would be great for Jaden Ivey. We're all going to be juiced about it. But is that actually a bad sign for Killian? Does that truly regulate him to the bench? And what does that mean for his long-term future with the Pistons? That's what I wonder about that quote as well. Does this mean they decide to trade him before the regular season? Does it mean they're not going to give him a chance to start? What all will happen if he doesn't play well?
Yeah, I don't know about the Jaden Ivey. I think they've already decided that he's going to be coming off the bench. I don't think he has any chance to start, in my opinion. If he does, it'd be fun to watch that battle. But I think they've already decided that he's going to be coming off the bench. I don't think he has any real chance of that. And I believe most people, I feel like a lot of fans probably think that Jaden Ivey is better than Killian Hayes. And they think that he's probably already better at, scoring and getting to the rim, all that kind of stuff, which he should be, I guess, because that's what he was penned to be coming out of college. So if he looks better scoring the basketball, I don't think that will shock me too much. The one thing that I think is going to be interesting to watch, Bryce, is and I want to get your thoughts on this before we go to the ad break, is that what makes Killian, like right now, still in the NBA, an NBA player, like someone that people have faith in still, is the fact he's such an incredible passer. And I just tweeted something this morning on Twitter. It showed like on-ball defense and the ability to get around screens and stay attached to your defender. And Killian was towards the very top of the list across the entire NBA at guards. So it's his defense and his playmaking is what keeps him in the NBA right now and what has people believing in him. Will that be should that be a part of what makes him the best player on the floor in the Summer League? Because I feel like I've said this before on the podcast that I don't want to see him pass the ball. I don't want to see him make the skip corner pass. I know he can do that. I don't want to see him make the, a driving kicks and, all that stuff, like all the playmaking stuff, because I already know he has that. So I guess I'm finding myself in the position of, I know that what I want to see him do is currently the weakest part of his game in the Summer League. And I know that the other parts of his game is what makes him a good player. If I don't want to see those parts, though, because I want to only see his weaknesses and see how improved that is, how realistic is it to still expect him, I guess, to be the same impactful player that you'd want to see come the regular season? If you get where I'm going with it and why I'm asking, because I'm legitimately confused.
Yeah, because you're saying, he could go out tomorrow night or tonight, Thursday night, and defend the other team's best player, lock him down, look incredible, make all these passes that maybe his teammates make, maybe they don't, and maybe that's not impressive to people. And
Correct.
So what I would say is,
and by the way, it wouldn't be impressive to me either, because
sure,
I know he can do it. That's why I know he can do it.
I think he has to do all of that and what you're talking about. But I do think the most important thing is, do we see growth? That's what was so impressive about the Oklahoma City game. Again, I don't know. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but I think he scored 20 points plus in that game. And it's not even just about the shooting. 28. There you go. So, I mean, yes, we all want to see the catch and shoot because that's the best pathway for him to play with Cade and even Jaden Ivey, to be honest. But I want to see him attack the basket. That's what I want to see on Thursday night. I want to see him getting into the lane. I want to see him make a couple floaters. I want to see him put a dunk down, like attack aggressively. We saw that he has more athleticism, vertical athleticism, than maybe what we would have believed late last season. So that's what I want to see more than anything. Be aggressive, go get some buckets, show that high level pass, be a dog defensively, and just dominate the game to where it's almost like, why is Killian Hayes even on the floor? Like, this isn't even fun for everybody else. And that's what I think the front office wants to see, what Coach Casey wants to see.
No, yep, I agree with you. So hopefully he comes out. And again, I don't care if he comes out here and misses shots, guys. Like, I want to see him make shots, but I need to see that aggressive mindset from the get-go, that I shouldn't be out here. I'm better than everybody. I can do this kind of thing that we are starting to see, that I talked about a lot towards the end of last season, that we saw slowly start to come together last month and a half, 2 months of the season when he came off the bench. So I really want to see that continue to happen. And I think that's what everyone's going to be watching for in the summer league. Go ahead, Bryce.
Yeah, real quick. I think the worst thing you could see on Thursday night is him come out aggressive, miss 4 or 5 shots, and in the game with 7 shot attempts. Like, that's the absolute, and this is to your point, that's the absolute worst thing you want to see from Killian Hayes. If he misses his first 4 or 5 shots, I want to see him take the next 4 or 5, still end up with 15. I'd rather him go 3 of 15 than end up 2 of 8 and he just shut it down, being aggressive, trying to look to score. Like, that would be a change in mindset even to me. So that would be the worst case scenario for Killian, is he misses a few and then he stops shooting and then just defers to Jaden Ivey or whoever else is in that starting lineup.
No, yeah, I completely agree. All right, so when we come back, we'll try to talk about what we're looking forward to seeing from the overall summer league. If we want to come back to Killian Hayes, and if that's something that we're going to talk about, then we'll come back to that. But we're going to try to expand it to Isaiah Stewart. We know Cade is not playing, but maybe Sadiq Bey, if he touches the floor. I don't think he will. Some of the rookies, Balsa Koprivica, Gabriel Procida. What is it? Procida. I what's it called? I'd be messing up it took me a minute to get Balsa Koprivica correctly, by the way, everybody. So all these guys, we'll talk about those guys in this upcoming segment. But first, I have to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts that you need. Why endure often pointless and seemingly intimidating questioning, like is your Odyssey an LX or an EX, and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts in their computer, choosing the only brand that their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home or in your pocket by using your phone. Save time and money when you're using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? For example, a Honda Odyssey fuel pump is $353 from a chain store, but only $216 from Rock Auto. And Rock Auto is a family business that's been doing it for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for all customers, and they have everything you could possibly need: tail lamps, motor oil, a new carpet, and I know this one because my fiance just ordered it off of Rock Auto, brake parts. She needs some brake parts for her car. It came in the door. I thought I was getting some special delivery from Rock Auto. She's like, no, I went to Rock Auto. I need some brake parts, so I ordered it up. And she also made sure to write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box. They know that we sent you. So if she can do it, all of you guys can do it as well. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. And again, make sure you write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so you know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers, continuing to show Locked On. We're the best and fastest growing fan base at the Locked On Network. I'd really appreciate it. It's the best way to support the podcast. All right, Bryce. Outside of Killian Hayes, or maybe if you want to bring it back to Killian Hayes, I don't care where you go with it. But what are you looking forward to? Maybe if you want to highlight just in your few days of watching Summer League, what you want to see in person, just overall Summer League, what are you looking forward to seeing, and do you feel like you need to see from some players if you have that in mind already.
Yeah, so actually the player, he's probably not the one I'm most excited about, but I am interested, is actually Braxton Koo, because he's on one of the two ways. Obviously, Buddy Boeheim, the incoming undrafted rookie from Syracuse, got the other two ways, so Pickett is out. I didn't love Braxton Key, to be honest with you, last season. I know people like him because he defends and all that. I didn't like the offensive game. And so I guess, I mean, not that it matters to Braxton Key or Troy Weaver what I think about Braxton Key, but I'm interested to see what he shows. And if I end up coming away from Summer League being more intrigued by him, as he is one of those two-way guys. So he's one of the names. I'm more excited about some of the other guys, but just in terms of like evaluating the roster, he's probably at the top of my list.
All right, so I'm going to try to stay away from Killian Hayes because we just spent the entire first segment, and I spent some time earlier in the week talking about him already. So I think we've talked enough about Killian. I think all you guys get what we all want to see from Killian, need to see from Killian. I'm going to go with Isaiah Stewart.
Yep.
And obviously this has to do with, or I should say, this depends on whether he actually even plays. We don't know if he'll play. We know Kay Cunningham has been ruled out. I'm going to assume Sadiq also gets ruled out. I don't see why he'd play. Isaiah Stewart's a little bit of a toss-up, so we're still waiting to see if he actually is going to play. But if he does play, he's the guy right after Killian. And honestly, I might have him above Killian with what I want to see. Or maybe not what I need to see or want to see, but what I do need to see. I said it backwards. I need to see something from him. Maybe not what I want. I want to see stuff from Killian, but I need to see something from Isaiah Stewart. And it's this. Everyone believes that he's going to be a power forward this upcoming season. Everyone believes he can play the floor. We've heard nonstop from Troy Weaver, Dwayne Casey. We've seen videos uploaded onto Twitter, onto Instagram of him practicing his outside shot. It looks a little bit quicker, looks a little bit more smooth than it did last year. Last year, it looked completely, at least for until the end of the season, I guess. But for the vast majority of last season, it looked really broke. It had like a hitch in his jump. I don't know what was going on. But everyone seems to believe that he's going to be a forward now. They believe he can shoot outside shots. So even if he only plays one game, if he plays 2 games, heck, even just a half, I need to see, I think every single minute he plays should be at the forward position. Every minute that he plays should be handling power forward responsibilities. It should be spotting up in the corner, picking pops, guarding other teams on the perimeter, their fours on the perimeter. All those things. That's what I need to see from Isaiah Stewart, because more than Killian Hayes. Killian Hayes is like, everyone knows I'm a big fan of Killian Hayes. I believe in Killian Hayes. So that's more of me coming from the fan side. And obviously it has to do with the Pistons. Obviously it means something, but him being so high with me is because I'm a big fan of his. I believe in him. Isaiah Stewart, I think what happens with him at 4 will impact this team's success this season. Because if he can't shoot, if he can't actually spread the floor, if he can't play 4, it's over. Their spacing is going to be awful. It's either him or Marvin Bagley.
Or somebody's out of the rotation. That's what it, like, right? Because now you got to play Bay at the 4. You probably got to play KO. Maybe you play really small with Livers at the 4. And now you have all these 5, Stu, Duran, Noel, Bagley having to play the 5. And then now the rotations are crazy. Yeah.
So exactly like you said, either they're hoping on Marvin Bagley or Isaiah Stewart being able to shoot from the outside. If they can't, either one, spacing will just be terrible. They won't have any spacing. Or 2, like Bryce just said, someone's going to have to get kicked out the rotation if they want to have spacing, because then they're going to have to get creative with lineups. Put Sadiq Bey at the 4. Someone we'll talk about in the final segment, someone Bryce Simon just broke down over at Detroit Bad Boys. Maybe Kevin Knox gets in the rotation, not the backcourt, but off the bench to provide the theoretical spacing that he's supposed to provide. Isaiah Livers gets put into the starting line. Like, you have to get creative now if these 4s can't shoot. So I feel like, again, Killian Hayes is more, I kind of want to see it, and a lot of you guys want to see it, but I got him pretty high because I'm a fan of his. Isaiah Stewart will directly impact on which way this team goes, I feel like, scheme-wise, with their starting lineup, how they play, bench lineups, who's in the rotation, etc. So I really want to see if he actually has improved in these power forward responsibilities in the summer league. And much like we said with Killian, even if he doesn't make shots, I need to see all the minutes come at 4. There's no purpose in him serving minutes at the 5 to me in summer league at all. If I see him play 5 at all in the summer league, I'm gonna ask why was he even playing? Why you even have him down here?
Yeah. Put him on the floor with Balsa Koprivica, who I want to see as well. He was a second-round pick last year, a guy that I didn't really keep tabs on. I know some people did more than me. But yeah, everything should be pick and pop. Everything should be catch and shoot. Maybe some DHO stuff to see if he can handle it, throw a backdoor pass, hand off, and then pop off a DHO. That's all he should be doing. If he's going to do the other stuff, then he doesn't need to play. We know he can play the 5 in the NBA against NBA level competition. He started how many games, and we know he can be switched. We know all of those things. If he's going to play in summer league, and it is important to note, he has never played in the summer league, right? Because his rookie season was COVID when there was none. And then last year he had rolled his ankle playing with Team USA and wasn't able to play in summer league. So this would be his first time if he does play. We haven't got any of that information from the team. The only reason we know about Cade is because Ashton tweeted it out. So I'm 100% with you on Stu that all I want to see him do, I don't even care what he does defensively. I really don't. He can take every possession off. All I want to see is because James Edwards III, my co-host of the Pistons Pulse, Omari Sankofa II, the team, the organization has kind of put this narrative out there that the shot is there, that they believe in it, and that he can do these things. So here's our first real chance to see it in a game situation.
Yep. So that's what I'm gonna be looking forward to, man. All of his minutes, all Isaiah Stewart's minutes need to be coming at 4. That's what I'll be looking forward to. So Bryce, real quick though, I'm gonna run through some of these guys' names, and you tell me which one of these players, or you can rank them if you want, but just tell me which one of these players. I
don't have my notepad that I usually have to write notes down, man. I feel
I got it right in front of me. I'll repeat it back to you if you forget a name. I got you. All right, so we got Isaiah Livers, Balsa Koprivica. I'm not going to say Jaden Ivey because I think obviously everyone's excited.
I want to see that first step though. I'm excited to see how how that first step looks in person.
Fair enough. So we'll automatically put Ivy at the top of the list.
Yeah.
But both the brothers, I can't say that last name correctly. Is it Boheim? Boeheim. Okay, both the Boeheim brothers, or Koprivica or Isaiah Livers. Who out of all those guys, who are? Oh, and also the second round pick that's now going to be
Prashida.
The second round pick now that's going to be playing now that the trade's official. Out of all those guys, who are you like most interested in seeing?
Prashida, because I did a breakdown at him for Detroit Bad Boys as well, and I know we're going to talk about Kevin Knox in a second, but he is intriguing. Like, he can shoot it, he's sneaky athletic, and so it's going to be fun with him and Jaden Ivey, and then obviously Jalen Duren as well. There could be some highlights, like the Pistons Summer League roster, even without Cade and Bay and whatever. Killian has some guys to throw it up to the rim and go get it. And then probably after that, Buddy Boeheim. He's the one that's actually on the two-way. Again, a guy that can shoot it. And I don't know. I mean, you may know this and some of the listeners. So the connection there is Troy Weaver was on their dad is the head coach of Syracuse, Jim Boeheim. Troy Weaver was on his staff at one point. So there is a connection there between those guys and Troy Weaver, those brothers. So, and then the kid Kyle Foster, he's on the list as well. He was a big-time shooter in college at Howard. So, sometimes those guys can light it up at Summer League because defense can be optional at times. So I think it's a fun roster. Like, we haven't even talked about Saban Lee, who will probably dominate games at Summer League just because of his style of play. But I'm excited for Gabriel Prashida, the second-round pick this year.
So if I had to pick one, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of interested to see Koprivica. Simply because I don't know anything about him. Yeah. I literally know zero. Nada. Not even a little bit about him. So I know that he was kind of the draft and stash guy. He's coming over now, along with the Pistons having 5,000 centers again on the roster. It'd be interesting to see how he fits.
hey, Weaver knows something we don't know. Some team is going to be center hungry at the trade deadline is my guess. So maybe that's what he's banking on.
Yeah, hopefully so. But yeah, I'll be interested in seeing Koprivica simply, like I said, because I just don't know anything about him. The other guys, I've seen a little bit of stuff about them. I don't know them incredibly well, but I've seen some stuff on them to have like a general sense of what they can do. Koprivica, I literally know zero about. So it'll be interesting to see what he's about.
And here's the other thing. The Summer League coach is Jordan Brink, who James Edwards III wrote an article, had an interview with him on The Athletic, but, has really risen up the ranks in the Detroit Pistons organization. Started out as like an assistant video coordinator. what a job he has having to navigate all this playing time. I believe the article said this is his first actual coaching job, like on court coaching. And so, one, congrats to him, but that's going to be tough to do with all these different names and trying to organize the playing time and map that out.
I don't want to extend this segment too long, but that's kind of something I've always thought about. Like, did these coaches get told by like management of the Pistons, like, yeah, all these other guys we brought on, what the summer league's supposed to be for, like the guys who aren't in the NBA get their summer to ball out, whatever, get to play and then go home, whatever. Yeah, it's cool for them, but do they like get told from management, hey, we need to see Killian Hayes play this many minutes, we need to see Jane Ivey do this,
yeah,
we need to see Stewart do this. Like, if you have to, like, I know you're trying to get minutes for these other guys, but we need to make sure you get to see this. Like, do they tell them that, or do they just like?
I would assume the minutes are mapped out ahead of time, right? At least I would guess they have it mapped out for all 4 games. So like game 1, these guys are going to start. These are who's going to get minutes. Stu's only going to play 1 game. So then this player is going to get to step into the rotation. And after that one, Killian's going to be out after the second game. So then we can add another guy to the rotation. And so like that would be my guess. But still, they have a lot of assistants, so maybe they're keeping track of all of that. But it's still a lot of mouths to feed, because you want to do right by these guys. You know what I mean? Like, you want to give them a chance to show what they can do. Maybe not even for NBA teams, but I was talking to somebody yesterday for possible European teams or, overseas teams, not just Europe. There's international played all over the world. So you want to give them a chance to at least show a little bit so they can go play professionally somewhere, even if it's not for the Motor City Cruise.
Correct. So it'll be interesting to see how the minutes get played out. When we come back, Bryce broke down Kevin Knox. He's kind of, I don't want to say an underrated signing, but just like not really talked about signing, because while he was drafted pretty high in his draft class, he has not been very good in the NBA. But he theoretically could address one of the Pistons' major needs this upcoming season. We'll tell you what that is when we come back. But first, I have to tell you guys about one of our sponsors, you guys' favorite sponsor, Built Bar. From the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given Coconut Brownie Chunk the Puffs treatment. That's right, the Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Bar flavor you love in a delicious, chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. But stop right there. They are good for you as well. Low calories, they're low in sugar, high in protein, and they're all extremely delicious. The Coconut Brownie Chunk Puff Bar are only here for a limited time, so make sure you're going to Built.com to make sure you don't miss out. They're going to go fast because they taste absolutely amazing. And I tell you guys this all the time. It feels like Built Bar is always coming out with new flavors. So even if you want to try out some other flavors, make sure you're checking out Built.com, because it feels like every other day they have a brand new limited time flavor, and I can't guarantee how long they'll be around. The best part about Built Puff Bars is, of course, they taste absolutely amazing, but you can enjoy them guilt-free because they are actually really good for you. They are the perfect treat, perfect when you got a craving and need to satisfy a sweet tooth, or if you need a quick, healthy snack, they're an excellent source of protein. Delicious coconut, rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. Stop fantasizing about it. Get to Built.com right now to order your box of Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Puff Bars right now. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15, and you'll get 15% off your order. Again, go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15, and get 15% off your order. Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar ever. So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers. Continuing to show Locked On. We have the best and fastest growing fan base at the Locked On Network. So, Bryce, before we talk about Kevin Knox real quick, I want to say something real quick. So I was watching the Magic and Thunder, the Thunder. Who are they playing? The Memphis Grizzlies. The Thunder Memphis Grizzlies game that I believe is going on right now as we're recording.
Yeah. So if you see my eyes like looking up, it's because the TV in the hotel room is right above my computer. So I've been like peeking up at it every once in a while. So yeah.
So that game, if you're watching it, Bryce, someone on the floor there, I was hooping with a lot this summer, and I was watching earlier to see. Okay, let's see how he's doing. Let's see if he plays well. And it's Romeo Weems. Like, he's from my area of Michigan. He graduated, nice. I believe, a year after me. He was part of their G League team last season, their summer league team last season. I know he went back this summer, but this summer he was playing Like I have a lot of pickup runs at my high school that we go to every week or so. And he was showing up almost every single time. And let's just say, man, he was pretty good. So, I mean, he was pretty good. And he wasn't really trying out there either. I know he was, for all summer, he was telling us that he was just working on his jumper. He didn't even like drive to the rim really or try to dunk on all of us or anything like he could. He was just taking jumpers, step back stuff, trying to work on that. So I was watching to see how he was doing. I don't know how he's doing right now because I'm recording, but if you guys want to get back to me and let me know what you guys, if he jumped off the screen or did anything nice, definitely let me know because it is pretty cool to see someone that you were hooping with for a few months there in the summer league for real.
It's crazy the levels of talent, right? Like you have like the top, like even within the NBA, I think we all understand there's levels, but then there's guys who like we saw it during COVID this past season, whenever, there was all these COVID, call ups and stuff like that. And you saw these guys be able to come in and ball out and make shots and do things. Like there's just so much talent, and then just what separates those levels of talent is just crazy. Just a little more athleticism, a little more attention to detail, better shooting, whatever it is. Like it is interesting whenever you think about those things. And there's a lot of talent, but there's a lot of separators of that talent also.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely get a realization of where you are in that pecking order when you go against some of them. But anyways, let's get to Kevin Knox. So Bryce, you did a full breakdown for Detroit Bad Boys. I believe you also uploaded it to your YouTube over at Motor City Hoops of Kevin Knox. I read it this morning. I watched the videos. But I wanted to give you a chance to tell the listeners what we'll be looking forward to. Hopefully seeing, I know we'll probably see a lot of them in the preseason. Definitely. They'll give them a chance to try to earn a rotational spot. Don't know if we'll see him at all in the regular season. How much we'll see him in the regular season depends how he plays in training camp and if he beats out some of the other guys in preseason. But without spoiling Bryce's breakdown, Kevin Knox fills the theoretical spacing issue for the Pistons. Now, he's been very inconsistent with that outside shot throughout his career. That also has to do with a lot with minutes, how many games he actually played throughout a season. Like he's very, very small sample size, really, in totality of things with Kevin Knox. But he's supposed to be a shooter. He's supposed to be a guy who's able to catch and shoot threes. And if he's able to do that at his length, at his height, with his body, he could theoretically fit a major need for the Pistons coming off the bench. Bryce, what did you see from Kevin Knox in the breakdowns you were doing?
Yeah, so I would say, if he's making shots, I think I said in the breakdown that if he could increase his percentage closer to 40, right now I think for his career, it's like 34%. So, I mean, obviously that's a significant jump. I'm not saying that's easy to do, but the shot looks good. Like it's one of those shots where you're like, man, this should go in more. I think he can play in the second unit a little bit. He's not going to bring a whole lot else offensively, Koo. He's not great around the rim. He's not great in the lane, maybe a mid-range pull-up here and there. He's a decent passer. I watched games from all 4 years of his career. I went back to his rookie year, started there because that's actually when he played the most minutes and the most games. His minutes went down each year since then. But that team he played on that year was really, really bad. Like I'm not here to bash the Knicks, and I think they were purposely tanking that year, but like it was a really bad roster, and he played a bunch of minutes on it. He defensively, he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine as a second unit guy defensively. So really, it just, I don't mean to oversimplify it. It really comes down to, can he make shots at a high enough clip to, stay on the floor, because there's not a whole lot else to his game.
All right. So this is a guy who was drafted really high in his draft class. He was
number
drafted,
9, I believe.
Yep. 9th in the 2018 NBA draft. I remember in summer league when he played his first season, he dominated. He looked really good. And a lot of people were feeling really high about him. And obviously, he just hasn't played very well throughout his career. He hasn't had many minutes. Like you said, his minutes have went down each season. His games played went down each season. And I want to give him a little bit of a fair shake here. Is that after his rookie season, basically all the teams he played on were like competing for playoff spots to try and be extremely competitive. So it's kind of hard to develop and play young guys, let them make mistakes and stuff while you're also trying to compete. Obviously, the Knicks, when they had that great season, and then he got traded to Atlanta, who also was trying to compete. So I'll give him a little bit of a fair shake there, just trying to be fair to him. He shot 39% from deep 2 seasons ago in 2020, 2021, but that was only in 42 games. Like you said, his rookie season is by far his biggest sample size. In that rookie season, he shot 5 of his 12 attempts from deep. He shot 34.3% on those. He averaged 13 points a game that season. So let me ask you this, Bryce. Do you believe if you had to, if you were like if you were on the coaching staff and you see the Pistons are lacking spacing, do you feel like that he's going to be given a legitimate chance to break this rotation because of how much of a need spacing is? Because it looks like that his competition is probably going to be Hamidou Diallo if Diallo's still in the squad at that point. So do you think that he's going to have a legitimate chance to crack this rotation based on what you saw in the breakdown and based what the Pistons are needing for this upcoming season?
I think he's going to get a legit chance. I don't think there's a high percentage that he actually, I don't want to say take advantage of it because I know he'll try, but I don't think he's going to end up winning that job. Not against Isaiah Livers, against Hami, KO, whoever you're having to play like in those 3 minutes at the 3 position and at the 4. Because I really think he's a small ball 4. I think that would be his ideal position in a second unit is playing small ball 4. He's 6'9". This frustrates me so much. Apparently, the NBA goes off what your height is without shoes for your official measurement, but his NBA combine measurement when he was coming in as a rookie was 6'9" with shoes. So that's what I used in my breakdown, and that's what I'm going to continue to use. So he's a tall, long player, and I just think at 6'9" he can hold up as a small ball 4, and that's where I would play him. I do think there's quite a bit of competition. We talked about it earlier, right? With Bagley and Stu and KO and Livers. So I really like Isaiah Livers. I don't think he's taking minutes from him. So maybe it comes down to a competition between him and Hami. And I don't mean to oversimplify it, Koo. It's like, can he make shots? Because if he's not making shots, he doesn't do enough of the other stuff well enough for him to stay on the floor. Like he's not doing the intangible little things like an Isaiah Livers does.
All right. So we'll end it off with this question I have for you. So do you for real seriously believe that it just comes down to simply like if he's just making shots, he'll win it over Hamidou Diallo? Like, is there anything else he has to do to like try to separate himself? Let's say it is versus Diallo. Like obviously Hami brings athleticism, the ball of energy that I always call him. He's just a ball of fire that is just ready to explode at all times. So he's able to get like miscellaneous buckets, like these random buckets on loose balls, and all of a sudden the ball finds him, or fast break stuff. Is all Kevin Knox, if he was to hit shots at around like a 38% clip or something, 39% clip in preseason, is that all you think that he would have to do to try and get those minutes with Diallo? Or do you think there's other things he's going to have to do to actually just get some minutes on this team? Because we've talked about on the podcast a few times that, with Frank Jackson, Hamidou Diallo, that I wanted them to just keep recycling those guys with high upside dudes that were drafted pretty high. You believe in them, and you give them a chance. If they don't work, then you decline the team option. You keep recycling until you find one. The difference with Knox so far is that the other guys that they picked up had a clear pathway to having a chance to do that.
Yeah.
It looks like Knox is going to have a really tough chance to even get to the point of proving that he can do it. So basically I'm asking, is it really just he has to hit a high percentage of shots and then he'll get those minutes over Diallo, you think? Or do you think he's going to have to bring something else as well with that to get minutes over Diallo?
Man, it's so hard because they're such different players. Like, because some of the stuff you're talking about with Hami is the exact stuff that Knox doesn't do. Knox doesn't block shots. Knox doesn't get rebounds. Knox doesn't get steals. He doesn't do any of those things. And so those are kind of what Hami does, right? Like the energy type plays that Hami brings in the athleticism. Not that Kevin Knox is unathletic. Hami's going to get into the paint better than what Knox does. So I don't know. Maybe this is a cop-out answer, but maybe it depends on what the rest of the roster brings as well. Like if Killian's shot improves and Stu's shot improves and Jaden Ivey shoots it better than what people think, then maybe shooting's not quite as valuable. But if none of those guys are, and like this team literally, like you just got to put someone that can make the floor space and make the defense respect you as a shooter, then maybe Knox at least gets a chance over Hami just because of that. So I'm interested to find out what the organization thinks about Hami as well. Like it was up and down last year, and I think he's a little bit forgotten. I may have said this the last time I was on with you because he didn't play the last, how many ever games of the season. And so I don't know where he stands with the organization. Like, is he a true piece of the rotation, a true piece of the young core, or was it like, we'll pick up the option for one more year and see how it plays out?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You guys know that I've said multiple times I didn't feel like they should have picked up Diallo's option because I knew that they were going to need shooting. I knew they were going to need spacing. I didn't feel like I saw enough from Hamdou Diallo and all the other areas that he was so good in those areas that it was good enough to just forego the spacing. So that's where I was with it. Obviously, they picked up his option. I mean, he could possibly be traded before the season still, but I don't think it's probably going to happen. So I think right now he's going to have the minutes over Knox, obviously. To be honest with me, I'm pretty interested. I'd want to see Kevin Knox get a chance in the rotation simply because I mean, I've made I think 4 episodes this month talking about how badly the Pistons are going to need spacing. I've been hammering this point home for the longest time. I've been telling you guys the numbers of how historically awful they were and just flat out shooting team, catch and shoot, off the dribble, hand off screen, all of it was historically awful. So if Knox is the theoretical guy that can help with that, I want to see it. That's just where I'm at. So that's how I'm feeling.
How about this second unit lineup? Killian Hayes with Marvin Bagley running pick and roll. And then at the 2, 3, and 4, you have Burks, Livers, and Kevin Knox.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's not a bad defensive lineup. I think they hold their own okay. You're not going to be great. You're not going to protect the paint a lot with Bagley and Knox. I understand that. You're going to give up something there. But we know this team isn't going to win a lot of games anyways. But you put 3 theoretical shooters. Burks, I think, is a practical, realistic shooter,
yes.
But Livers and Knox as well. And then you just run pick and roll to death with Hayes and Bagley. And I would watch that for the second unit. I could live with that. And defensively, they'll be good enough to hold their own. So I could see something like that. That makes sense to me.
Yep, that's that was literally going to be the lineup that I threw out there. That's why I'm interested. Or Duren, if they want.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If Duren finds a way on, but I think a lot of us believe he'll probably start off in the G League, at least at the very start of the season. All right, so we'll wrap up the podcast. I actually want to ask you one quick question, Bryce. Simply yes or no, and we're going to let you go. If you had to take a guess right now, do you think that you see Kevin Knox at any point of this season in the rotation, whether it's 1 game, 2 games, 3 games? Do you think at any point he gets a chance to where Dwayne Casey's like, you know what, let's see if he can give us something, and he gets thrown into the rotation?
Yes, and I know people are going to say, well, yeah, people I don't even think it's predicated on injury. Even if the 15-man roster as is stayed healthy for 82 games, I know that's not realistic. I think they will give him a chance to play, for a few games, 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is. I think they will strategically give him a chance to play and give him an opportunity. So I'd say yes.
I also agree. I think Dwayne Casey will probably give almost everybody on the roster at least a game or 2 to be in the rotation. So I think I agree with you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and end the podcast here. Bryce has to get to a concert over in Vegas.
A magic show.
Oh, a magic show.
Chris Angel Mind Freak. So we'll see how it goes.
There you go. He's gonna have a lot of fun over in Vegas. I definitely want to thank Bryce though for finding time to come on the podcast, even though he's in Vegas. So he'll be giving you guys all kinds of coverage over there. Again, he's credentialed this summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys go follow him at Motor City Hoops. He'll be giving you guys, like I said, all kinds of content, background information, our background stuff going on over at the Summer League. So make sure you guys are following him. Thank you, Bryce, for coming on. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, real quick. The game is not tonight. The game is not on. I mean, it's at midnight, so it's technically Friday morning, I guess.
Friday morning at 12 a.m.
Correct.
If you live in the Eastern time zone, it also depends on where you live.
Yeah, if you're listening to this in Michigan, Eastern time zone, it will be 12 o'clock. It will be midnight. So I don't do I say tomorrow midnight? It's going to be at midnight tomorrow. That's what I'm going to say. So don't be waiting around what's going on? It's going to be at midnight. You might want to just record it. You'll probably be sleeping. So I don't know why they did that, but there you go. I know a lot of you guys have been spamming us asking, what's going on with the game? Where's it at? Midnight tomorrow, Friday morning, whatever you want to call it. It's at midnight. I'll see you guys then. We'll have a podcast the next morning recapping everything that happens. And until then, I'll see you guys later. Peace out, everybody.